Hey guys, welcome to my channel. It's Nikki Free. It has been a very long time since I've done a video. I have just been overwhelmed with everything that's going on and just, taking it all in just like the rest of you. It's just been a lot and I'm like speechless, but I am happy that finally, a lot of these injustices are being brought to light. I'm so happy that finally a lot of the injustices that just were swept under the rug are coming back to light. I'm seeing a lot of stuff that's happened in the past even coming back up. So that's great. And also, when I see everything that's going on, it chokes me up because like a lot of the young people who are in their teens and like in their early 20s, a lot of these kids are out here on the very front lines. A lot of them are really, really fed up, and I feel so proud. And I feel like this generation really gets it. And I'm not saying it's just this generation. I'm saying that I see a lot of them out there, and I see a lot of them just being tired of the BS. And it's so great because we have to really sit and think. In every state, every protest, these people are out there on the front lines, a lot of them getting tear gas, etc. And they are actually doing a lot with these protests. They are doing so much. And what I mean by that, they're shining the light. Just imagine if there were zero protest and no one did anything and they just sat back and said, oh, this is sad. Imagine none of the progress that has been made would have been made. The small amount of progress that's been made. We still have a very, very long way to go. Don't get me wrong. But I'm saying the little steps that are being made, all these people that are losing their jobs, and which I feel is great. All these people online doing crazy stuff, the Karens and all of that, who are losing their jobs behind their behavior. Just think like a year ago, it wouldn't have been the same. A lot of the stuff that's getting accomplished is because of the protesters, and we definitely have to be thankful for them. Anyway, it's hard to, do a video without talking about this, and I haven't had a video since everything that's happened, so that's why I can't even like bring myself to have a video without mentioning this, because it's going to directly impact my personal life, and my people's lives. So yeah, this is a very important time. And this is definitely going to go down in the history books. So, yeah, it's a lot. Anyway, so I just wanted to talk about B. Simone. That's the point of the video. And B. Simone, let me tell you something. With B. Simone, this was like the perfect storm, because let me tell you something. One thing that people have in 2020 is time. Okay. And another thing about 2020, people are on edge. Okay. People are on edge. Even if you have, let's say you have money or you have what have you, your situation is good or whatever, you still turn on the news. You look at social media, everything, the world will make you on edge, even if your situation is okay. So basically, for the most part, people are on edge. Plus, not to mention, the C19, I'm not going to say it because YouTube is really strict with that. So I'm just going to say C19. The C19 has had us in the house. We have not been out. A lot of the stuff that we used to do, like going out with our friends, going to restaurants, going to bars, music events, movies, all this stuff has been taken away. So people are not the same mentally as they were pre C19. So you have all this stuff going on, and then you have B. Simone coming out to speak about the protesters, and then people did not like that. Okay, so that rubbed people the wrong way. Okay, then she comes out and says she would not date a 9-to-5er. And that really just did it. I mean, that just did it for people. People were just sick of B. Simone. And can I just say, I didn't know so many people were annoyed by B. Simone. Now, I don't follow B. Simone like that. I'm not, whatever. I mean, I've seen a couple of her videos, definitely. Since we've been in the house for so long, I've probably seen a little bit of everybody's videos because it's always, I mean, there's not a lot to do. So I have seen a couple of her videos, and yeah, I don't really get into that whole baby boy and baby girl and all of that. I don't really get into all that. That part, I just don't really get it. And it's fine. It's not for me to get. She has a huge following, and shout out to her for building her following and all of that. It's just, it's just, to me, I feel like she's doing a lot, right now with people being so tense. But I don't think it would be as noticeable if it weren't 2020. Is what I'm saying. I think B. Simone probably has always been like this, but we just probably ignored it because there's other things going on. But right now, people are tuning in to what people are saying, and people are checking and trying to figure out where people stand and stuff like that. So basically, for her to be, she was kind of quiet about the George Floyd thing. People didn't like that. And then when she came back, she kind of was talking about the, the protesters in a way that people did not like, So that, like I said, that caused a problem. Then she said the 9 to 5. So Nick Cannon, somehow she was talking about, Nick Cannon was talking to her about dating somehow. And she goes, she wouldn't date someone that works a 9 to 5. And that just, like I said, that set people off. And here's my thing with that. There's a lot of rappers that have a preference. They come out boldly and say they would not date a dark-skinned woman. They come out boldly and say they only like light-skinned women. They only like Latinas. They only like what have you. People come out and say their preferences all the time. So by her saying that, I don't see, what the huge deal is, except for the fact that people, this is what the huge deal was. I'm going to tell you what the huge deal is. When certain rappers say, oh, I only date this type of girl, the reason why people let it slide is because they feel like that person who said that, they have the right to say that. They feel like that person is on a level to where they can pick and choose who they want to date, and they have that right. I think people look at B. Simone like, who are you to say who you're going to date? You're not on that level. You're not there. You're not someone that should be saying that. I think they're saying you don't have the look, you don't have the, status or what have you to be saying that. I think that is where people's minds are going when they hear B. Simone say that. And it's because not too long ago, B. Simone was, like she said, sleeping on the floor, sleeping in her car and all these things. So people still kind of associate her with being on a certain level, which is not way up there. And she doesn't have the traditional IG model look or anything like that. So people are like, well, who is she? Because, people are superficial. So people are like, who is she to say that? Okay, so people are just like, how dare she? And another thing I think people are triggered by is the fact that, one, a lot of people who heard that they don't even have a job. They wish they could get a 9 to 5. Two, there are people who are working 9 to 5s and they're offended because they're like, you're kind of crapping on what I do every day. I do work a 9 to 5. And three, there are people who are working 9 to 5s who are really, 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 really successful. And they're thinking, how dare she talk about me? I'm successful. I got this and I got that. And to me, that boils down to, if you're secure in who you are, it really shouldn't matter what people say. But, I won't go there. But the point is, so B. Simone, basically, there's a lot of factors that go into this, why people feel the way they feel. Okay. So they basically said she's canceled, whatever. They're done with her. However, they were done. And they were close to being done, I'm telling you, when she first made the comment about the protests. you know. Um, then she made the comment about and I can tell you guys what she said about the protest. So basically, she was quiet and she basically kind of like spoke out. And this is what she said. She said, doing your part is more than social media. Doing your part is loving your neighbors, praying for the enemy, calling your black friends and checking on them, signing petitions, donating, meditating, looking in the mirror, and becoming better. Before I try to lead, let me examine myself. She later followed up the tweet and she said, I'm not living to please man. I'm here to please God. And at the end of the day, I'm a Christian. I'm God-fearing. I have to answer to him. I'm going to ask myself, what would WWJD, not what would an angry black woman do? I am angry, but I'm also trying to be godly. So that's what she said about the protest. So that set people off. A lot of people didn't like the angry black woman reference. A lot of people didn't like the fact that she was hopping on the whole Christianity thing when she talks a lot about sucking peen online and a lot of sexual things. And so a lot of people kind of were like, giving her the side eye because they're like, well, if you're that much of a Christian, then why don't you don't show it, So basically they were just kind of like holding the mirror up to her face, if you will. So there was a lot going on with B. Simone with that. That was number one. Number two, she came through with the, the whole thing with the 9 to 5. And I already, like I said, I told you guys how I felt about that. That's why people were basically coming for her. They don't see her as someone that has the right to say what her preferences are. They don't see her as being on that level. And that's pretty much what people were kind of insinuating, kind of saying, not even insinuating, kind of saying, like, who are you? Who do you think you are? So there's that. And then the whole thing came crumbling down, nail in coffin, with her book. And two ladies came out and said that she basically plagiarized her book. Now, this part here, it was just over. This is just not her year. Let me tell you something. This is just not B. Simone's year. But after this happened, people just really, really were like done with her. So she sold this book. I don't have her book. I had no intentions of buying her book. I heard about her book and I thought, good for her. I know she has a book and she sells lip gloss and she's a comedian and she has a YouTube channel and all of these things. And I'm like, wow, she really pulled herself up from the bootstraps and became a millionaire. And her whole thing is that she manifested and so she's going to write a book about it and all this stuff. Now, here's my thing. And this is just on the outside looking in. If your whole life was so successful and you feel like you want to write about this great life that you had, I would think that you would actually be the one that would be writing about this great life that you had, and you would be the one that's giving most of the input to this particular situation, like this book. It's just, I would think everything that came out of in the book, it would be from you, and you would just have an editor to kind of clean it up a little bit. I mean, and then maybe some graphic designers to, make the designs and stuff like that. I get it. But I feel like the bulk of the meat and potatoes of the book should be coming from your life experiences. It should be coming from what you did to get to where you got to. I feel like it would be written by you for the people, and the book was very short. It wasn't like it was a long book. She could have easily wrote that book. I'm sure she has enough talent to write, or maybe she doesn't. But I mean, I would think she would have enough talent to just write this type of book on her own. The book looks like kind of like a magazine. It's kind of like just like it's like a workbook. It's like really nothing elaborate. And it doesn't have a lot of text to it. But the text that is in there, there's a problem with it because it's totally copy paste. And two women came out and showed their work by B. Simone's, and it was word for word. They didn't even change a word. They didn't even change a line, a sentence. It was just copy, paste. So that was just it. That was just wow. But I didn't say anything. I waited to do this video because I really wanted to see what B. Simone had to say. You know, I really did. I wanted to see what was she going to come out back and say. And she came out and she said that basically her team did it. She didn't know they did it, and it wasn't her. But she'll take responsibility. That's pretty much what she said in a nutshell. Now, this is where I got confused because I just don't understand how she could write this book and not have any type of idea that this was going on. You know what I mean? Because most of it, this book should have came from her brain. This book should have been, those steps that were written down, those sentences, all those sentences, like would you do this, would you do whatever, those questions, that should have been from her brain. It should have been her idea. No one should have been able to come up and copy and show you a replica that was done prior to her book that the information was copied from. That shouldn't exist because it should be original content from her head, is what I'm saying. Like, this is what you went through, you know? So I'm a little confused. I feel like, so I think it should be called something else. You didn't write a book. I don't know what a better statement would be. You're not an author. You're just, I don't know. The book was inspired by you. That's what it should have been. Someone else wrote it and it was inspired by you, maybe. I have no idea. But the point is, had she just written the book on her own and just sat back, buckled down and done the work and just wrote it all herself, I feel like, and then just like got an editor to clean it up, I just feel like it would have been a lot better for her. And now it's like she loses credibility. And, you know, I really want to, I'm not a person that likes to kick someone when they're down, but this is just, these are just the facts. I mean, you lose credibility when stuff like this happens, period. Even the people that are saying, oh, you know, give her a break, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you can give her a break, but in the back of your mind, even your biggest supporter, they're going to have in their mind, like, damn, you just copied and pasted. Like, you didn't do the work, you know, and you just, that's not something you want to be known for, a person who doesn't do the work, a person who doesn't get in there and who isn't authentic. So it's like having a ghostwriter. You know, you didn't write that, someone else wrote it kind of thing, you know. And if that's the way you want to go in life, just having a ghostwriter for whatever, that's fine. But I think, like, if you're going to do that, then you should put that out front first. And then has she done that, like, just said, oh, here's a book and it's inspired by my, you know, my journey written by whoever, then she would have kind of been taken out of the loop on this, if you know where I'm going with this. You know what I mean? But by her just wanting that title as an author and wanting to take all the, you know, say, hey, this is my book, blah, 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 it's all falling back on you. And no matter what she says, people are looking at her like, oh, yeah, you didn't keep it real. This book is BS, you know? So anyway, she's getting drug all over Twitter and people are like, I want a refund. People are like, oh, if you would have had a 9-to-5er, they would have caught this for you. You know, people are just going in, of course. And it's just like, okay. But what does B. Simone have to say? What does B. Simone have to say for herself? Is she going to say anything? And like I said, I was really surprised because she did come out and she just basically said she's the coach and she takes responsibility, but they did it. It wasn't me. They did it. And I didn't know they messed up. They messed up so bad. I didn't know they messed up like this. They did it. But I'll go ahead and take responsibility because you guys are going to blame me anyway, kind of thing. That's kind of how I kind of took the apology. Now, there's not much more left to say about this, to be honest. You know, I think she will lose some support behind this. I really do. And it's just because of people's mental state right now. They don't have time for the BS. If you're not coming correct, you know, I feel it will affect you. And I feel like B. Simone will be affected by this. But the true test will be if she can bounce back. You know, I don't know. I don't know because I didn't follow her like that in the first place, so I can't really say, what her, strengths are. I've never been to one of her comedy stand-ups. I don't have her book, and I've never bought her lip gloss. So I know she has her lip gloss. Whatever items that she has, it got her to $1 million, and that's the point. And people are in an uproar, and there's a little bit of hating going on. There's going to be people that are going to hate on her because they're like, wait a second, she got $1 million and she was shiesty, and some people are just going to hate because she got $1 million. Some people it just is what it is. But I feel like this is a good example of someone that should probably stand in their truth. I think, one, like I said, with the protest situation, she should have just, instead of when you keep making videos and keep making videos and keep coming back and explaining, it's like, why? Just, you said what you said, basically. You know what I mean? She should just stand for what she stands for, and it is what it is. Because she is, whatever she believes in and whatever she stands for, I think she should have just stood behind it. And like, when it came to that, if that's how she felt with the protesters, that's how she felt. She should have just stood behind it. And then she came after that showing that she was out in the field, what she was doing, and then it just looks disingenuous. It just does. It definitely does. Because anytime you gotta show what you're doing, it just doesn't look good. Anytime you gotta put on a show and say, well, look what I'm doing. You said I wasn't doing it, but look. It just starts to look like you lose credibility. And then, but it's kind of like, I know we live in a time where you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. But I think people who just stand in what they believe in, I feel like they get more credibility. It is what it is. This is how I feel. I think she would have got more respect. Also, with the whole 9-to-5 thing, I think she should have just said what she meant, which is, I want somebody on my level, period. Okay? I want someone on my level who can be okay with my schedule. That's what she should have just said. Instead of just skating around and then saying weird stuff like, oh, it's okay if they're a drug dealer and it's okay if they're this and that. And it's just like, what? It just started spiraling and getting worse each video she made. Then with the whole thing with the book, her explanation, people are like, sorry, but you're still canceled. So here's the thing. The reason why I say she should have just stood in what she believed in and just stood for what she believed in is because people who are going to support you, they're going to support you. Those other people, they aren't going to support you. And a lot of these people that are hollering cancel, that are hollering the loudest, those are probably people that did not support her in the first place, a lot of them. That's the whole thing. A lot of these people probably never bought a lip gloss, never bought the book, never watched a show, never been to a show. So them canceling her is not going to impact her in the first place. So she might as well stand for what she believes in and get her a genuine following, the people that are okay with what she stands for, and just go from there. That's pretty much what she has to do. According to her, this is all now like a lawsuit. It's a legal situation now, of course, because she's took somebody's stuff. So now it's a legal thing. It's just a mess. I don't know how she's going to come back from this. It's not like lawsuits, legal things, that can get expensive, and that can bring a person down fast. When people start suing you and you start paying all those monies for lawyers and trying to compensate people for lawsuits and things like that. Yeah, that right there, that's the fastest way. Especially for a new person who is newly in the business, newly getting money, new money. It's not like she has old money. It's like new money, It's easy for her to lose her fortune. So she really has to be careful with all of this because it is important. It's very important. And then lastly, I want to say, when it comes to the book, She says she didn't know. She blamed everybody under the sun and said that they did do it, and she didn't know, but she'll go ahead and take responsibility because she's the coach. I find it very, very hard to believe that if this is, like I said, this is your baby, this is your book, that you didn't know anything. Yeah, that's kind of hard to believe. You know, it's hard to believe unless you just were completely hands off and you didn't have much of anything to do with this book. It's just, it's weird. That's what I'll say. It's weird because in my mind, even when I first heard of the book and when I think of her writing this book, I picture her writing the book. And that's why it's all kind of confusing, and that's why it's hard to believe you didn't know anything, because I just picture her writing this book just because of what the book is about and how she talks about the book. So anyways, I don't know, you guys. I don't know what's going to happen with this situation. Well, I'll tell you what's going to happen with this situation. I think she will lose some supporters, but other people will continue to support her. And this, like everything else, will be overshadowed by somebody else being canceled in 5, 4, 3, 2, probably like next week. You know, I'm sure next week it'll be somebody else up that they're canceling. Trust me. So the spotlight won't be on her for long. Remember Doja Cat? Remember how Doja Cat was everything and now it's like the Simone? These things don't last, but we'll see how it plays out. Let me know what you guys think. I don't know. Are you guys team B Simone or are you disappointed in B Simone? Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching. Peace.